Alright, so stir-fried chicken hearts. Apparently you need some chicken hearts. This is about half a pound. Fresh from the Chinese supermarket. And you need some aromatics. Here I have some scallions, a couple red chilies, 3 cloves of garlic, knob of ginger, and optionally some hot sauce. And here is all the stuff you'll need for a quick sauce. And I'm also going to be putting some of this in the marinade. I got some chili powder, trusty old MSG, cumin powder, balsamic vinegar, dark soy, Shaoxing wine, and some vegetable oil. Now, first thing to do is to clean and marinate the chicken hearts. I'm just gonna split these in half, right down the middle, like that. You know, some people like to scrape off the fat on the chicken heart, but I don't mind it. It doesn't make like a big difference in my opinion. So I'm just gonna leave the fat on. It is pretty important to split this in half though, because this way it'll cook faster and more evenly. Alright, so that's done. So, I got my chicken heart. Next step is to wash it. And I'm gonna use some light beer. First of all, quality check, make sure it's good. Now, allegedly, beer would remove the gaminess from the chicken heart and tenderize it. I don't know how much of that is true, as usual. I don't know science at all. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So basically, I'm just giving the chicken hearts a massage. And as you can see, the water is kind of bloody and has bits of blood and fat. Now I'm just going to drain all this liquid and rinse them off with some water. Alright, so I am back with the rinsed and cleaned chicken hearts. Now I'm just going to do a quick marinade. Go in with about a tablespoon of Shaoxing wine. A few pinches of salt. A little bit of pepper. Ideally you would use white pepper, but I don't have that. So freshly ground black pepper would do. So this is baking soda. I only need a touch, like a literal touch. Let's see. Like this is enough. It's about like a quarter teaspoon. This is just to make the chicken heart a little snappy. A heaping teaspoon of cornstarch. A couple teaspoons of vegetable oil. This is to make sure that they don't stick together when they go in the pan later. So this is done. I'm just gonna set that aside for now. Next thing we do is to make a sauce. Going in here with a few pinches. A little bit of pepper in here as well. I like cumin, so I'm gonna put a lot of it in here. This is about a couple teaspoons. Some chili powder. Also a couple of teaspoons. I like it spicy. More powdered stuff. And this time the king of flavor. Uncle Roger would be proud. about a third of a teaspoon. MSG, a touch of balsamic vinegar. Ideally, you would put like Chinkan vinegar or like Chinese black vinegar, but this is all I have. A couple teaspoons. And this is dark soy. This is mainly for color. The salt will provide the saltiness, obviously. So I don't need much here. Also about a couple teaspoons. About another teaspoon of cornstarch. And some water. About a tablespoon of water. Then you just mix everything together. And that's your sauce done. Give it a little taste. It's salty, it's spicy, tasty. Forgot to put this in my sauce. Be right back. So the last thing to do here is just to cut up some aromatics and we're good to go. Let's start with scallions. Peel off the old bits on the other side. These guys have seen better days, but they're still okay to use. Give them a quick wash. So the idea here is to cut everything roughly the same size. So here I'm going to separate the whites from the greens, and just gonna cut these at a bias into like these parallelograms, if you will. Doesn't have to be super precise, because this stuff is going to cook very quickly nevertheless, but this is done. And this here, I'm just going to cut these into segments. I'm going to throw them in at the very end for garnish. And these guys are done as well. Now, chilies. Top and tail. I'm going all in here. I am leaving all the seeds in. And same thing here. I'm just going to cut them at a bias into these chunks. Set them aside as well. And then let's do ginger. You can peel it with a spoon, do whatever you want. Life is too short. I'm just gonna cut around. Normally I won't peel ginger, but here for the sake of presentation, I guess. You know, I'm just gonna peel off. All right. Pretty similar with this guy. So cut them into planks. All right. And then just kind of cut them in half, because the size will look pretty similar. Looks good to me. You could julienne this, but again, life's too short. And lastly, the garlic, I'm just gonna very roughly chop them, because if I do a fine chop, stuff is gonna burn easily. So I'm just gonna stack them up and do this. Okay. And end up with these large chunks of garlic, which is fine for me. Very rustic, but the job is done. So that's everything. Now we can head over to the stovetop and cook this up. Wok is on high heat. Go in with a couple tablespoons of oil. And we are ready to go. First off, aromatics. Oh, that's the noise you want to hear. Give that a quick toast. You want to make sure that you smell all the aromatics. You also want to make sure that nothing's burning. Take it off the heat if necessary. It smells amazing. And when you see a little bit of color on the aromatics, scooch them to the side. Touch more oil. And you're gonna go in with the chicken heart. Immediately stir and toss. Well, this smell is addictive. Still on high heat. Tiny bit more oil in there. A little bit of Shaanxi wine. Let that evaporate. Now, give the sauce a quick stir. Make sure there's no clump from the cornstarch, and that goes straight in. Toss to coat. So set that to the side. I'm just gonna give it a quick taste. See if it needs more salt. Looks good to me though. That tastes good. Touch more oil. Lastly, scallion green part of the scallion. Turn the heat off. Couple more tosses. And this guy's done. All right, let's try this. Oh, it is tender. It is a little snappy. It's savory. It's spicy. It's all of those things. I'm gonna discard the chili pieces now. If you're feeling extra adventurous, you can eat those. But I feel like The spice level is at a good place right now, and they've done their job. If you don't want this dish to be spicy, just omit this and the chili powder and the chili sauce. If you want, you can totally boil some pasta and mix that in with this dish. Just like take out the cornstarch, because the pasta water and the pasta will have enough starch. But like it's a super saucy dish. If you like take out all the spicy stuff and then add a ton of sugar, this becomes like a Shanghainese style jiang shao dish, which means cooked with sauce. But this is still really good. I think it's mainly the texture that does it for me. This was super quick, super delicious. It can be a little hard to find, like the chicken hearts. I guess you could do it with like regular meat, you know? Just cut them into like thin slices. You could use chicken breast, you could use chicken thigh, you could use beef or pork. And you use the same marinade and the same aromatics. It's just like a pretty easy stir fry that goes well with rice and alcohol. So what else do you need? You know what I mean? But yeah, stir fried chicken hearts definitely took my heart away. I've got to stop. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Make this dish if you can find chicken hearts or just use other meats. And yeah. Cheers, ganbei, chin chin, santé. I'm out.